I hope the stream doesn't turn off now that I edit the settings for the phone, so it won't turn off automatically. Alright, we'll begin with the Vietnamese word lun, which is up. Nope, that's Khmer. Lun. Because I haven't added to the dictionary, I believe. And we'll put in Lexiconga. Lun. And the IPA pronunciation would be let's go to Wiktionary, because that's where the IPA is. Lun. As you can see, the Khmer one has a G ending, while Vietnamese doesn't have a G ending. I think that's because the original word had a GA ending, a G ending, an NG ending, but it was lost in Vietnamese. And that's not it. Lun. Okay, now go to Lun. Oh yeah, the Anglo-Saxon alphabet. Lun. L. M. N, which spells Lun. Now we go here, place the alphabet in, and we are almost there to finishing a word. Now we also need the Khmer word for mom, which is similar to ma in Vietnamese, which also means mom. Ma. Yeah, ma. What was supposed to do? Oh yeah. We need up in Chinese. Did I ever tell you that the Vietnamese are actually 20% Chinese, perhaps? Because of Chinese colonization? Because a long time ago, Vietnam conquered Vietnam for 1,000 years, and they colonized the place and turned it into, instead of a Southeast Asian culture, it turned into a Chinese, Sino-Chinese culture. And that's what happened a long time ago, but so the standard language will be Vietnamese based, while the couple of dialects will be either Khmer based or Khmu or Wa or the other languages related to Vietnamese. And Khmer is supposed to go in front of Chinese. Come on, Alex, respond so you can come on the stream and talk to me about linguistics, because you know more about linguistics than me. He's a smart dude. He passed college. He's not a linguist, but he's a I think he's a technician, not a technician, but some sort of computer whiz or something to do with computers. Up, lun, lang, and whatever the Chinese word is. And now I just need to record it. Oh, wait. Is this it? Or is this the command one? Lang. Lang. I believe that's the command one, so I'm gonna have to delete it and then replace it with the Vietnamese version. Lan. 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 And then we go to YouTube. I have like 600 videos on my YouTube, so that's a lot, but they're mostly 8 seconds long about words in ancient Vietnamese or ancient Khmer. How many words do I know, actually? I think I know around 300. I know a couple of fruits. I know a lot of animals, actually. Like sai, which means bee. It comes from a Hmong language. Originally, the word am would mean wasp in ancient Vietnamese. Ancient Vietnamese has it was wasp, but it changed into bee somehow. It transitioned to bee somehow in modern Vietnamese. Because those animals are similar, except one doesn't make honey and the other does make honey. Let me check if... Come on, work. Work. Learn. Yep. Take that. Come on. Okay, I'll just put them later. Learn. Ancient Vietnamese. Didn't go up. Learn. Come on. There we go. Okay. Nope. Alright then, that's learn. Next word is the Khmer word for mom. Mom.
Mẹ. Mẹ. Mẹ.
Okay, that's mom. That's the word. That's not the word for mom. How about I put the word mother in? Swiss proposed in Austrian origin by Cameroon. That word to work my die. Okay, let's look for. Let's go to Globest. Not Vietnamese. My mother. Not that word. It's this word.
Mẹ. 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 Mẹ.
Hey, is that the same as Vietnamese actually? I need something louder. My. 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 Now that kind of sounds like Vietnamese mom. My. 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 However, it sounds elongated or something. My. My. How about we use this word instead? My. 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 It sounds basically the same, except a little stretch. So I would just not change the word and look for a new word from the spoken words that Alex provided for me. Now, do I remember the words from yesterday? It was close, and what was the other word? Jose. I think it's Jose. Similar to Joseph. Jost. Juice. Juice. Okay, I'm just gonna have to look up the word because I want to make sure I got it right. Juice. Juice. Come on. Juice. Juice. Yep, juice is correct. Okay, now let's look for the word for next word is for the word for lychee, actually. And this word right here that I'm about to copy is a word for mango, a type of fruit, but it is now used for a lychee. Now where do I go now? Oh yeah. Do. Oh wait, that's not it. I need to switch these two. And we will go for a lychee. Lychee. Now we need the Vietnamese word. Chop chu, which means lens set, which I still remember for some reason. Lychee. Okay. I want the seldom Vietnamese word for fruit. Trái dại. Trái dại. Now, what is lychee in Cambodian? Lychee. Khmer. So it's just lychee. Lychee. Lychee, and then we go to Chinese. Lychee.
荔枝，荔枝，
tan, từng lạc, tụt trụt, côi, nè, pil, glass, do, pua, mul, huil, giang,
I
rubo,
can't hear a thing.
nè,
I need to
căng,
turn off the fan.
tan, từng lạc, tụt trụt, côi, nè, pil, glass, do, pua, tekan, ketan, từng lạc, tụt trụt, rin kham, xin, lẹt, bì, tùm, chắc chù, choai,
July.
ble,
Okay, it's July. Is it really July? Because that's a Y sound.
ai, ble, kham, xin, lẹt, bì, tùm, chắc chù, choai, ble,
July. 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 Okay, July is. Okay, Tui. July. 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 Okay, that's good enough. Try. Try. Okay. All right. From what I heard a long time ago, Cantonese is the more conservative, the more traditional Chinese language, while Mandarin has may have evolved more. Man, this is getting hard because I think if I'm remembering this correctly, I think Mandarin has lost the endings of certain for certain letters, like at the end of the word, like for example K. I think Cantonese still has the K in many words at the end of the word, but Mandarin lost it, I believe. I'm not sure, but I think it's something like that. Lychee. Okay, now Y. Okay. ancient Vietnamese. I think we go. Then we go for Chwai. Chwai is not that hard a word to. And for some reason, they keep locking me out of my logins. It's more. Oh wait, there we go. Chwai. And now we do this. I typically like the Khmer language because it sounds like an old man to me. It sounds more wise. That's why I like the language. And I do speak some Khmer actually. Like for example, Grong ni Phnom Penh, which means the city is Phnom Penh. Lychee. One of my favorite historical events was the Khmer Empire's invasion of northern Vietnam. During this time, the Khmer invaded North Vietnam because I think northern Vietnam just got independence from China at the time, and the Khmer wanted the Vietnamese to submit to the Khmer Empire and be a vassal state, but the Vietnamese refused, and a war came. Khmer was, I guess, almost took over northern Vietnam. They took over one province, but the Vietnamese were able to push it back. Northern Vietnam, while it was small for a country, it had the biggest population of any other kingdom at the time. So it had a big population to use as an army to repel the Khmer army. While the Khmer had a big, vast land, they had a sparse population. For example, Cambodia wasn't that populated, or Thailand, or Laos. Laos is really not populated at all, because there's a lot of mountains there. But one things I want to do eventually is to do a reenactment of a military war between the Khmer Empire and the Vietnamese Northern Army. And we would need a lot of uniforms and maybe some weapons, but that'll be expensive. But maybe one day I could get a force together to a group of people that could help me figure out a way we could do it. Maybe we should do it in Vietnam or something. Or maybe, I don't know if Vietnam allows weapons in Vietnam. But Okay, now we try. Try. Okay, now. Now to the Anglo-Saxon alphabet. I like soccer. I already told you this before, but I don't really watch any sports actually. Sports is not like a thing I watch, but I do watch a lot of video games. People playing video games like Let's Players. Um, I used to watch this person named Nintendo Capri Sun. He did a lot of retro games of the NES era, and he did. I think he also did a Nintendo 64 game, Zelda Ocarina of Time. Okay, what's the W rune? For me, at least. I think it's this word. Yep. A-Y. Well, Nintendo Capri Sun is also part of the Runaway Guys, a group of Let's Players that's pretty, they're semi-famous. They're semi-famous, and they do a event called Doran Controllers. That it's kind of like a game show where you answer questions and play gaming challenges. I think it's an event at a couple of cons, like video game cons, and darn it. Okay. But they do a lot of cool things, and they're one of my favorite people who play games. Though they're recently on hiatus right now because of some trouble. 29. Only one of the members are in trouble though. The other two of the group aren't in trouble though. Nintendo Capri Sun is the one in trouble though. He's pretty chill dude. He's guy from the southern United States. Is this the right word? Yep. Oh yeah, he has also done Contra, if you have heard of that game. Yeah. And he also has done Dragon Quest. Anyone know Dragon Quest out there? Dragon Quest is pretty popular RPG in Japan actually. It's one of the most popular things in Japan for RPGs, and people were standing in lines for a long time for to get the game for Dragon Quest. Was it 8 or something? I don't know, but it was a long time ago. The game was made by the person who the art at least was made by a person who made Dragon Ball, I believe. Pretty neat dude. He has a unique art style, but what kind of art style would I like though? I like those old Fire Emblem pictures. They're not exactly like modern anime, but they're they're like they're like anime from the 70s or 80s. That type of art. So kind of like Sailor Moon art, but a little bit older, like a little bit more simpler. Is what I mean. Is this correct? Chui, chui. To me, chui means left. Sadam means right. Lychee, jai, lychee in the Chinese word. Next word. Okay, let's go on to the next word. Ooh, some news. "18 rub your eyeballs and do a double take." Whatever. Okay, now. There we go. Next word will be pear. That's a common fruit in America, so I'm pretty sure you use that a lot, pretty much. Pear. This weird word right here that is the fruit of zalaka is it's called snake fruit in English, I believe. That's the next word after the word pear. And now we are set to make another word. A pear, a common word in English, a common fruit in English. I don't really like the Anglo-Saxon ones. Sometimes I always wanted it to be the main alphabet instead of Latin for English. It's not that hard to use, actually. It's like the modern Latin alphabet, but you use it the same way as the modern Latin alphabet, but and they're just more appealing to me. They have a they're how say the word? Exteriorly they're pleasing to the eye, which is what I basically mean. Yeah, but it depends on the person, though. And now we will need pear. Now, pear in Vietnamese is actually a word that is spelled L-E, but I don't know the tone. They. Fruit. Pears are not exactly my favorite fruit, but my favorite fruit is actually a type of berry, actually. It's a blueberry. Oh, no, not blueberries. I don't like blueberries. I mean blackberries. Yeah, blackberries are my favorite fruit. They're very juicy and they kind of look like grapes, except much smaller. Um, I used to buy them from Safeway, and they're pretty big and juicy. Sometimes my dad has harvested them from outside, and I eat them sometimes. But they're not as good as the one from Safeway because I think they're the bread to be bigger or something. Okay. Pear and Khmer. But blackberries, I also like blackberry jam. It's pretty good on toast. But I also tried making jam myself, actually. I made some apple jam, which didn't taste that great, but it was kind of chunky. I don't know if jam is actually supposed to be that chunky, actually. But I did eat it, and it was not the most pleasant thing I have tasted in my life, but it was alright. Meanwhile, I also tried making candy before. It was okay, but I rather eat taffy from the store. You know how you melt sugar and turn it into candy, basically? It's pretty neat, but I never got the hang of it, and it took me a long time to figure it out. But I was able to make a sort of taffy-like candy, which it didn't taste like store taffy, but it was edible at least. Um, pear. Pear and Khmer is not that. Let's hope it's this. Is this pear? It's showing me a bunch of fruits, but not the word pear. So I'm gonna need to go to Globest. The best dictionary for Khmer, not this Russian site. Khmer. Pear. Is it? There are lots of fruits that I eat that Americans typically don't eat. Because since I'm a Vietnamese American, or Vietnamese, I eat a lot of exotic fruits like lychee or a rambutan. Is that how you say it? Rambutan? And I also eat. I don't know if Americans eat the Japanese pear, but the Japanese pear is a giant, round, yellowish fruit. It's very round and it's quite big, but it has this super sweet taste. It's sweeter than most other fruits, and it kind of tastes like a sort of very sweet candy, but it's not candy. It has a taste that doesn't remind you of candy, but it's super sweet. And this is the right word for a pear in Khmer. Now we need to look for the Chinese word for pear. Li. I think that's related to the Vietnamese word for pear.
Ní,
That's related to the Vietnamese word for pear because it was borrowed from Chinese a long time ago. Pear. Okay. Now we go to. Oh, we need to listen to the word. That's what we need to.
chắc chu, choai, ple, tukum, rosar, chắc chu, choai, ple, tukum,
What? Is that
Tum.
what's that saying?
chắc chu, choai, ple,
Bilal. I think it's Bilal.
chắc chu, choai, ple,
Bilal.
tukum.
Okay, Bilal. Not that. Bilal. Bilal. Okay, that looks good. Have you heard of the fruit called the permission? Permission? I think it's permission fruit. It's a orange fruit, but there's a certain type of fruit that is a permission fruit that is black, and it's very weird. And there's not typically a lot of black fruits. I don't know if the inside is also black, but I think it's from Florida. The permission fruit that's black. It's from Florida, and it looks rotten for some reason, but I don't really know. And I'm probably not going to taste it anytime soon or ever, but it's it's a fascinating fruit to behold. Come on, work. Let's see if I have any comments right now, actually. All right, so we have to do the fruit pear. Pear. Ancient Vietnamese. I believe in Africa, there's many unknown type of fruits that we don't know of. I only know Asian fruits and American or European fruits, but there's a lot of fruits in Africa that we need to try out, but it's just a mystery because Africa is not like a place that's popular that much. And I don't know if it's because of some sort of bias against black skinned people or dark skinned people, but maybe it is. But we need to try to remedy that because people are people and we should treat people equally. Because, like, for example, the original Asians, if you did not know, were not that light skin at all. They were like a pure black skin people, and and they came into Asia and eventually become lighter skinned over time. But it was a process which took a long, long time, and some of those black skinned people never actually lightened their skin. They never become lighter skin over time, and there's some descendants of them in Asia that are left, but they've been like, since they were hunter gatherers, they were abused and genocided by the more powerful farming people like the Native Americans who did not usually farm at all or very much, and they eventually got abused by the Europeans who came after, who were uh, not like they were not they were sophisticated more than the Native Americans in certain ways, but there were some things Native Americans did better than the Europeans, and the Europeans did adopt some things from the Native American culture, and and that's why we in America have certain place names that are from the Native Americans rather than pure English or some European language. Like, for example, the area I live in, where the area I live is Shokwami. Um, Shokwami is a Native American word, I believe. It might be a name of a chief or some type of name of an area or something, like I don't know, but let's continue. Pear, Bilea, uh, if I get a cord for every time I have to log back into this, I'll have 1,000,000 quarters. Oh yeah, I need to put pear right there. Pear. And Bilea, it's not that hard word for me to remember. It's it's pretty easy actually, because in Vietnamese there's actually a lot of words that that has the word be in it, like be, which is to be caused, I believe, and be which means pumpkin. You probably, for Americans, you wouldn't probably know that you wouldn't recognize that these two words are that different, because American, like the English language, isn't a tonal language, but in Vietnamese, tones kind of mean everything, and a different tone signifies a different word. Okay, bee, fruit, pear. I wonder how many Americans actually hate the durian fruit, actually. Durian in the conlang, or the ancient Vietnamese conlang, is gal. Is it gal? Gal lai. Gal. Galoon, which means room. Galai means durian. And yeah. Eh, eh. Ancient Vietnamese, pear, bilea, be, Bilea. Because I've seen a lot of Americans actually say Durins are disgusting and terrible, but to me, they're very creamy and they taste like ice cream, but with a layer of slightly slightly hard skin. Well, it's not exactly hard. It's good enough to chew through, and it's not that hard. It's like chewable skin that has a creamy cake frosting inside, and that's how I would describe it. My first like on it, which means few in Vietnamese. Okay, now I need the video. Bilea. Bilea. Not good. Okay. Okay. Now we go to we need the Anglo-Saxon alphabet. Make sure they're the same link. Yep. Okay, Anglo-Saxon alphabet. That would be P-I-E-L-E-E. P-L-I-E-E. Where is the Anglo-Saxon alphabet? Must have deleted it. I'm gonna have to make a new one. Rune typer. Rune translator. Text to rune. Nope, not that. Rune to text. Anglo-Saxon. P. I remember that letter. That letter's quite obvious. I. P-I-L-E-E. Bilea, which means pear. I might end up knowing a lot more fruits rather than animals eventually, but for now, I think I know at least 15 to 20 animals, while I might know maybe 10 fruits by now. Pear, bilea, nbi, nbi, and then mbi, mbi, earhoop, nbi, earhoop, nbi, earhoop, nbi, which means I eat watermelon. I eat watermelon. E hoop be. Okay, that's good. Next word. This is going good so far. I have about I put at least 7 words in the dictionary today. That's usually more than 2 or 1, which I do on lazy days. Snake fruit. Okay, we'll be doing snake fruit next. We're out of the fruit for now. And wait, we're not out of the fruits just yet. We have at least 1 or 2 more fruits. How would you spell this? That would be Takom. And then we will put snake fruit. Snake fruit. And what is snake fruit in Vietnamese actually? I have no idea. Snake fruit. A snake. Snake fruit. Is this how you spell it? Would this make actually sense in Vietnamese? Yeah, actually. Okay, I need the sour Vietnamese word for fruit. Snake fruit is called snake fruit because it's quite obvious that the scales, the skin on the snake fruit looks similar to snake scales, and that's why it's called snake fruit. Actually, snake fruit is only native to, I think, Burma and parts of Thailand, I believe. It's a fruit I heard that could kill you because you could choke on the seed of the snake fruit, and then you die a horrible death by choking to death. There was a story of a man that gave snake fruit to his child, but the baby choked on the seed of the snake fruit and died. So he eventually, he became a person that hated snake fruit thereafter, and he burned all the snake fruit he could ever find, and that's basically the story. Trái rắn. Trái rắn. I don't know if actual yogurt, fruit yogurt, like for example, strawberry yogurt, is actually made out of strawberries, or if it's artificial flavor. There's like a couple of small chunks of strawberry yogurt strawberry, but what I mean is the yogurt part, um the the red yogurt of the strawberry yogurt. Is it actually made of fruit, or is it like flavoring, like strawberry flavoring? Okay, what was the word? Oh yeah, snake fruit. Now we need the snake fruit in Khmer. Snake fruit. Boop, 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 boop. Yep. Pretty easy word to figure out. Okay. Is this snake fruit in Chinese? Nope, that's not snake fruit. It's some type of apple which is red delicious, which is a pretty common apple in America. But now we will. Oh wait, I think it is called this because here's a snake fruit right here.
蛇皮果
Okay, I'll use it. Why not? Snake fruit, here we come. Now let's listen to. First, let's go to English section alphabet. T A K O M. Yep. I actually like the letter K better than the letter C, actually. And because I just like how the picture of the K letter is written like better than C for some reason. I also like the K sound better than the C sound too, because versus what was the C sound again? Ch was ch. Or was that CH? Or do they both make the same sound? I forget. I think the C letter is a soft C, but I forgot how to pronounce it. Okay. Now time to listen to the super quiet sound of the voice recording.
Choai, Ple, Tukum, Rosar,
Bila,
Tukum, Rosar,
Takom,
Choai, Ple, Tukum,
Takom,
Rosar,
Takom.
Gan, Tan,
Okay, it's Takom.
Tutrut, Koi, Ne,
I don't think
Bin,
snake fruit would be a common word to use in
Pua,
the language unless if you live in Burma or
Tien.
Thailand.
Repo, Pro, Please,
I don't know if
Hadri,
snake fruit is actually
Info,
a
Nui,
been going like
Tam,
because
Tiang,
okay, let me turn that
Yeah.
off. I don't know if snake fruit actually is a rare fruit, because I don't know if it's actually used to be more spread out in Southeast Asia for snake fruit, but it became last like it became it became isolated in Burma and Thailand or something. Okay, now let's do this. Takom. 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 Let me listen to it one more time to see if it's correct.
แยกตัวสมวน
Nope. Fire it back.
จวายปิแลตะกม
Takom.
กอซาร์ตะกัน
I think that's close enough. Takom. Takom. I don't think they import snake fruit to America, actually. It's one of those fruits that stay in Asia. I don't think it's popular in America, and I wish it was so I could actually taste it, because it's a Southeast Asian fruit, and I kind of want to taste all fruits in Southeast Asia. But one of the things I dislike is vegetables, like Southeast Asian vegetables, because they're very leafy, and in Vietnamese cuisine, there's like ramu, which is I think it's the stem of a plant, I believe, and you eat it, and it's not that appetizing. It's very grounded, and not my favorite type of vegetable. My favorite type of vegetable is I've grown to like bitter melon, actually. I used to not like it a lot when I was young because it was very bitter, but I like it now. But my favorite fruit is like a gourd. Like gourds, you put in soups that you eat and drink. Okay. Oops. Let's turn that off. Ancient Vietnamese. Okay. There's currently not a lot of fruits in my house, actually, because I ate them all, actually. I'm a big fruit eater, and at least I don't eat enough that I become I have diarrhea or something, because fruits has an okay amount of fiber, but it could be worse. And for some reason, the snake fruit looks like a butt to me, because there's this line between the center of this fruit right here. It's pretty weird, and it definitely looks different from lychee, actually. It's just kind of, it's not transparent white, but it's like white on, it's like a, is it like cookie batter white, or it's like, it's like the white you see on a Hershey chocolate bar that is white instead of brown. It's kind of like that. Okay, now where were we? We were at the comb. The comb. The comb is not. I think it might be a little hard to remember that word. The comb. Ancient Vietnamese. The comb. Okay, what was those three words? Okay, nubby, mbi, and what was the other B word? Man. Oh yeah, bilea, which means pear. Okay, now. Okay. Okay. This is frustrating. Just do that. Okay. Okay. Snake fruit. Here's a neat fact, actually. Though you probably won't be interested in it unless you know some linguistics. But the word snake in Vietnamese is rang, and it has an A sound in the middle. And this is actually Northern Vietnamese, but in Southern Vietnamese, this doesn't mean Northern Vietnamese or Southern Vietnamese, actually. It means like in the language group, there's something called Northern Vedic and Southern Vedic, and these correspond to the two types of Vedic languages in the Vietnamese language family. But in the northern one, we have an A sound for rang, and it corresponds with Southern Vedic I, which would be like if we took rang and put an I sound in it, it would become something like green. And yeah, it's pretty it's how evolution of words work. Language always changes, and Vietnamese will change and become separate when languages, unless if we do something about it, like artificial change. We artificially keeping the language the same, and that's possible. And we could even include Cambodian in it too, a fixed Cambodian. Like we changed Cambodian to be more original, but it will keep the same words of its past self. But it will we'll try to never change it, but so we could understand each other. And ancient Khmer has a lot of these words that are pure pure Khmer, and they're long gone in modern Khmer because they have been replaced by a load of Indian words that was brought by the first Cambodian king, which was an Indian. Well, we could say that Indians has brought a lot of things to Cambodia. The one bad thing we could say is that by changing the language, the modern Khmer language cannot understand ancient Khmer at all, or very little. And this is because this ancient Khmer did not have these Indian words at all, and they spoke a language that were more similar to Vietnamese than modern Khmer. But the Khmer, we could change a little bit Khmer, so it could be like its original self, but we don't have to change everything. We can keep Indian words that are more uncommon, but change the common words to more real Khmer or pure Khmer, and so they can understand Vietnamese more. And maybe we could have a language that's like Thai and Lao, because Thai and Lao can understand each other for the most part because they're mutually intelligible, and they can speak day to day in their languages, and there'll be no problem. But this is a different story for Cambodian and Vietnamese. They both of them, due to the influences of different people. For the Vietnamese, the Chinese, and the Cambodians, the Indians, these two groups of people have given them words that obviously won't allow them to communicate with each other. Like, for example, I think Sam, no. Sun Kam. I'm butchering this word right now, but it's it's the word for war, and the Vietnamese word for war is a Chinese word for Jin Chan, which means war, and both of these words come from different language families, and they won't be able to understand each other. But the old word for war for both of ancient Khmer and ancient Vietnamese was a word called Nan, which was spelled Nan, and this word means war, army, or is there any other words that people consider it means? But people, army, not people, war, army. Yeah, I think that's the only two words that it meant. Oh yeah, there's also one that evolved to become the word for fight. So war, army, and fight, and all of these words are related to a more military, aggressive language. And for Vietnamese, actually, a lot of the words the native words for Vietnamese actually correspond with the words. They are for the words for a lot of native words are words for war or some type of war or military. Like bang, which means to shoot. Cắt, which means to cut, which means you could cắt người, which means cut a person. Đâm, Dam, which means stab, which is from the original language of Proto-Austroasiatic. And there's a couple other words, but what I mean is the Vietnamese were enlisted by the Chinese for military purposes. Um, and these Chinese people used these Vietnamese words that had to do with fighting and war to command them. And that's how these words stayed in Vietnamese language when it could have been replaced by Chinese words, but they didn't because the Chinese words need to communicate with the Vietnamese to fight their wars because the Chinese were a minority and the majority of people were either Austroasiatic people, which were either Vietnamese, Mun, and Khmer people. And there were some Thai people in the north, but they were vastly outnumbered by the Austroasiatic people. And even today, the Thai people are not even genetically majority Thai. They're actually genetically majority ancient Vietnamese, which you would call Austroasiatic or ancient Khmer. Austroasiatic is a term we use for ancient Khmer and ancient Vietnamese. They were the same people. And all Thai people have been vastly, how would I say this? They kept their language, but they have been genetically swarmed by these ancient Vietnamese and ancient Khmer genetically because originally the Thai people were a people related to the Indonesians and the Malay people. They were genetically Malay and Indonesian people, but over time, the ancient Khmer and ancient Vietnamese genetically swarmed them, and they're now majority. They're majority ancient Vietnamese and Khmer genetically, and but the language is still Thai for some reason, and it's maybe because the Thai people colonized southern China at one time from these ancient Khmer and ancient Vietnamese people, but the immigration of Thai people weren't enough to genetically destroy these ancient Khmer and ancient Vietnamese people because they were still in the majority of the population, but the language did change eventually. And that's kind of the story of how the ancient Vietnamese and ancient Khmer and ancient Thai worked together to share a common culture and common identity, which they were very culturally similar to each other. They were more culturally similar to each other than the Chinese, and they would have formed a group or coalition to keep their culture and their languages, the culture and language, to keep it safe or at least preserve it from the Chinese colonization of southern China, which, it was brutal at times, and this is what caused the Thai immigration into Southeast Asia. The Thai immigration was caused by rebellions that the Thai did, but the Chinese completely destroyed them, and they got brutally punished by the Chinese, so they decided to flee into Southeast Asia and take over lands from the ancient Vietnamese and ancient Khmer. But enough of that. I need to continue with this dictionary here. So I'll be quiet for a while. Snake. Okay. Okay, there we go. The gum. Next word will be how many words did I actually put in the dictionary recently? Okay, we started with I think we started with dumb, which is Raputin. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That doesn't seem like that much though. I might have, yeah, I also put the Khmer word for lung, or lung, and then the Vietnamese word for lun. Okay. Now we oh yeah. We need to do a word that's not in the current list that I need to put in, but it's a word that is important. It's the word snake. We already have the word snake, but we're using a Khmer word for snake for poisonous snake. the Khmer word will become the word for poisonous snake. Oops. I need to put the word snake. Oops. There we go. Is that really how to say the word snake in Khmer? Because that sounds like the word hammer in Vietnamese. Let me do a different dictionary. Now, there's usually, in proto-languages, there's usually multiple words for one word itself. Like, for example, in ancient Vietnamese and ancient Khmer, there's two words for snakes. There's the one that Vietnamese adopted, which was a word that was similar to rang. And for the Khmer, they adopted a word from the old language that wasn't rang, but a word that started with a P or a P sound that in Khmer, a P sound, a P letter in Khmer makes the sound B instead of the sound P.
Bo. 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 Bo.
Bo, 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 bo.
Bo. Bo. Bo.
Bo, 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 bo. Well, B-O-H. B-O-H. Should I even use this word?
Bo.
I'm not sure I could say this word correctly, actually.
Bo. 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 Bo.
Bo. Bo. Okay, I'll try my best, though. Gabo. Gabo. Okay. Bo. 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 Yep, that sounds exactly like the word. Bo. 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 I'm going to say the word it's kind of hard word to say because Vietnamese doesn't have those ending H sounds. But Khmer has a lot of them. Like the word I just said was bo, 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 bo. And then there's like in some Khmer, non-Khmer languages, Austroasiatic languages, there's a word for like, which is kabuh, which is a very similar word. It has the H ending sound. Buh. Okay. Let's. My phone's running out of battery, so I'm gonna have to charge it. Did you know I have never played a Final Fantasy game? Actually, I have actually, but I never finished it. Actually, I never finished number 9 because I couldn't pass the final boss. But for a long time, I did. I never played a Final Fantasy game, and number 9 was the only Final Fantasy game I have played that I remembered. But it was a good game. It was about a was it a guy, a blonde haired guy? That his name was started with Z, maybe Zach or something, and he was like an alien or something. He was a monkey, like a Saiyan, like from Dragon Ball Z. He was a monkey. He had a tail, and he was like kind of. He was this kind of person that was brash and ooh, see, you see here, this is a proto-Mountain reconstruction, which is Austroasiatic. It means snake. Barnaric, which is a branch, Khmaic, and Kamuic, and Nicobaric. Buh. 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 That's not a tough word to say. That is the. That's about how you spell it in a Latin alphabet. Poisonous snake. Poisonous snake. You know, back in the day, I have played actually a lot of soccer management games where you manage a soccer team. You pick a soccer team from like a European faction. Like for example, I like playing the Dutch because the Dutch are one of my favorite people, and I also like their language. But I can't really speak it. I know how to speak some words of the Dutch language, like like the English. I mean the Dutch word. Hello, and the Dutch word. What was what was the word? Water. I think that's the word for water in Dutch. Water. and there's a couple other words, but I think I've forgotten much of my Dutch since I studied it, but it's a fascinating language. It's closely related to the English language, and it's much more closer to English than I think Khmer is to Vietnamese, because Vietnamese Khmer has even though they're related, they have evolved quite differently. They're part of the same branch called Eastern Mon Khmer, but they don't look that similar because Vietnamese became a tonal language and lost most of its consonant clusters, um, and it's what did else did it lose actually? It lost its ending consonant clusters too. Most of them, at least. Okay, rắn độc, which is the Vietnamese word for poison snake. Poison snake. Chway. Chwai. 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 I think it's chwai. Yeah, chwai. 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 Is why is why does Y have a W in IPA? Yeah, actually it does. Chwai. That's interesting. Fascinating. Why? Why?
Why?
Why?
Why?
Okay, Chwai. Okay, now next would be Vietnamese. Khmer. Oh yeah, the soccer management thing. I actually played soccer management games for a vast majority of my time when I was a kid, like 6 hours per day, and I like watching simulated um, the simulated games where you get to watch soccer players, AI soccer players, go around kicking the ball and trying to score a goal. However, I think the GBA, an old handheld console, had a soccer management game, but that was pretty primitive. It was very primitive, very very unadvanced because it didn't have lots of good graphics because you couldn't really make a soccer simulator on a GBA with that kind of kind of kind of graphics and code during that time of was it the early 2000s that the GBA came out? But nowadays we have we have games that have pretty graphics that what the did I get one more subscriber? Let me check. 30 subscribers, yay. I had 29 before. What was this word again? Doom. Not that. Chop.
Chop chú.
Chop chú. Wait, what the? I have subtitles?
Chuai.
Chua. But basically, we have more fun watching simulated games nowadays than during the GBA era. And I was playing those soccer simulator games when I was 10 during the 2010s, the early 2010s. But it was a good time I had playing those games because it was part of my childhood and I remember them fondly. During those days, I actually played a lot of PC games, but now I don't. I reserve myself to console games, and well, this is mostly because I don't own a computer anymore, or I do, but I can't use Steam because the computer is so low tech. It's like it's not that good for gaming actually. There's only like you can only play those web browser games, and that's it. Uh, Poisonous snake. I need poisonous snake. Ooh, the Chinese has a word for poisonous snake. They have a separate word for poisonous snake? Proto-Sino-Tibetan snake. Snake. Hui. Huh. Chinese mythology, huh? This is the wrong kind of snake. Poisonous snake. I'm gonna have to use poison. Poison. I don't know grammar of Chinese actually. Do they put snake in front or in the back? Poisonous. How about we just put poison snake? Yep, it's this word. Poisonous snake. And now we need that. Do any of you guys know much about the Anglo-Saxon section? We don't really know a lot about them because we don't have a lot of written evidence for what they did. We do have written like evidence for we do have written evidence for like late Germanic culture, but we don't have any evidence for we don't have any evidence for their early culture that course that were when they did not know how to write, and even when they knew how to write, which was the runic alphabet or the Anglo-Saxon alphabet, they did not write often because they wrote on trees and wood and stones, and there wasn't like a great amount of material that they could easily write on. And it took a long time to write these words on stone, especially. But for the ancient Khmer, they were also the same. We don't know. We don't have a lot of words for. We don't have a lot of written evidence for the early Khmer people, except during the late Khmer era. Um, the early Khmer era, before they were known as the Cambodian people, there were absolutely almost probably no evidence of what we know about them, and the written Khmer was already influenced by the Indian words, so we don't know what exactly a almost pure Khmer language looked like, except looking at their close brother and sister languages like Vietnamese or Hmong or any language related to Khmer. Poison snake. Okay, now we have to upload the video. Hey there, Powson. Did you hear what I said about the Khmer people, uh, or did you miss that part? I could repeat it for you, or if you did not hear it. Well, basically, we don't know what the Khmer people, the early Khmer people, were like, or um, before the empire came. The early Khmer people, before they were the Cambodians, they were they they're a mystery. Except we know so from bones, like the bones and bodies of preserved people, of ancient Khmer people, of their DNA. We know a lot of DNA and archaeological evidence, but we don't know how a lot of evidence for like the culture. What do we know of their culture is almost zero. And you're pretty sure. I'm pretty sure you would know that too, because a lot of early people, prehistory people, we don't know anything about them, right? Do you know a lot about prehistory people, or is it like a mystery? Well, I've been talking a lot and I haven't been focusing on adding the words to the ancient Khmer dictionary, but because I was talking for this whole time, and right now I'm actually adding a word for snake in Khmer. It's the modern word for snake in Khmer, but it's it means venomous snake now, because there's another word for snake in ancient Khmer, which is the modern word for snake in Vietnamese, and that's the base that's the base language. The word snake in ancient Khmer, rang, is is the proper word, while the modern word Khmer for snake is the version for poisonous snake, venomous snake. Ah, the Khmer Kingdom, huh? Um, I know a few things about Khmer Kingdom, but for now, I'm just gonna focus on adding words to this dictionary here, so we can actually, so people could eventually learn ancient Khmer. Yeah, it's that word. That word is the word for venomous snake. How do you say it? Bu? Bu? I think it's bu. And it's the word for venomous snake. While the proper word for snake is rang. Ancient Vietnamese. I see. I have an accent in Khmer, so I'm not like a native Khmer person, so I can't pronounce it correctly. I could pronounce Vietnamese correctly, but Khmer is a different language itself. Okay. Snake. How do I spell snake? It's BOH. 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 Poisonous. I have a thing with English words that I can't spell it most of the time, because I wasn't like properly trained as an English speaker because for most of my early years, I spoke Vietnamese for most of my life, and I became fluent at English at a late period of my life. So I don't know how to spell certain words properly. Poisonous snake. Rắn độc. Rắn độc. I believe độc, which means poison in Vietnamese, it's a Chinese word. And the word rang, which is RAN, is actually a native Vietnamese word and ancient Khmer word. So that's oh, a Cambodian accent, huh? Ancient Khmer, ancient Vietnamese, Tingliku, bot snake. Yeah, yeah, move, please. There we go. The word cowl with an L sound at the end. It's the word I told you. It was the word for shield, I believe. You should try and remember that. See ya. Sorry, I'm just reading the comments of what Palison said before. I like rereading comments, so excuse me for that. Harder P, softer B sound. What's a boo? Okay, let's continue. Okay, so bull. Did I add it to the... No, not yet. So... Bull. 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 Poison snake. Okay, next will be the word... Yellow. Next would be the word... Okay, I need to search for that word. What's the next word? We need to look at the list. Okay, it's this word right here. Marriage. That's a complicated word. A complicated word indeed. Now, where should we put it? Well, this sounds like a Khmer word, actually. It's not that bad. Okay, next word is... What is it? Oh, there's Alex. Well, I'm streaming right now, Alex. Having a hard time conversation, talking to myself. Okay, marriage. Okay, Alright, 2 minutes. So it seems that Alex do want to join today, so... Oops, I didn't delete the word beforehand. Okay. Row. Rows.
Rosar. Tukom.
Hello.
Rosar.
Hey there, can you hear me?
Kan.
Yes, I can.
All right, Mr. Expert Linguist. What do you want to talk about?
All right then. I don't know. What have you been talking about so far?
I was talking about the ancient Khmer kingdom with a person recently.
All right. Ancient Khmer Kingdom. Right, the one that built Angkor Wat?
Yeah, Angkor Wat. Yeah.
Yeah, cool. Yeah.
I was talking about the linguistic history of pre Cambodian, which the prehistory of Cambodia, which nobody really knows about, and we don't really know what the language looked like because there was no written text, you know.
Oh, yes, yeah. It's like Old Khmer text is the oldest record we have of it, right?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. Old Khmer, I haven't really looked into it much. That's probably fascinating on its own. But fortunately, there are, because of Khmer's relationship to other languages in the region, it's possible to get some clues about what an earlier form of the language might have looked like.
I heard early Cambodian didn't have a register, I believe.
Yeah, I think I've read that too. Like, having a distinction between voice registers is common in modern Austroasiatic languages, the family that Khmer comes from, but not so much. It seems to have evolved over time and doesn't exist in the reconstructed forms.
I think you're an expert at like minority Vedic languages, I believe.
I have an interest in Austroasiatic languages. I've done a bit of reading about them, but I've mainly focused my study on the Vietic family, which, I suppose makes me know a thing or two about the other languages in Vietic that aren't Vietnamese.
Then why don't you talk about that, huh?
Okay, well, to be honest, I don't know very much about those languages. I couldn't speak any of them. But I can tell you the Vietic language family is like, it's about maybe 2,000 years old. That's when everyone in the area was speaking the same language. It's from northern Vietnam and like the Red River Delta where Hanoi is and everything. And it has, it's got Vietnamese in it. It's got the Muong languages in it, where it's like maybe they're mutually intelligible, like different dialects, but they are sort of distinct anyway. There's, what is it? So then there are some other languages, some less commonly spoken ones. There's like, I think, Bong and Tavung and Arem. And then they have like family trees have been constructed even for these languages, with some more closely related to each other than others. And there's sort of a continuum of phonemic styles for these languages. So there are some like Tavung, which are like have a lot of two-syllable words and they have more in common with languages from other branches in terms of the sound and the feel of the language. And then you have languages that are a bit more, and those ones tend not to have a distinction on tone. And then you have like Tavung, I think is at that extreme. It's like lots of two-syllable words, no tonal distinction. RM is like Tavung, except RM is like one of the Jip languages, and Jip and RM are closely related, sometimes considered the same language. And I think they have two-syllable words and like a distinction between a high tone and a low tone. And then you have like Muong, the Muong dialects, like phonetically pretty similar to Vietnamese. They have a few initials, like some consonant clusters that Vietnamese doesn't have. But yeah, they have, I think, 5 or 6 tones like Vietnamese. They have a bunch of loanwords from Chinese like Vietnamese. And that's where, yeah, on the Vietnamese end of the spectrum in the Vietic languages, there's also more, there are also more words from Chinese. I think there are some words that are from Old Chinese that are common to all the Vietic dialects. It seems those words were borrowed into Vietic during, I don't know, I think before the first Chinese domination of Vietnam or early on within it. Yeah, and then, let's see. And then, yeah, then there's Vietnamese, where with no consonant clusters, full 6-tone system, and everything one syllable. Everything that's considered like the same kind of word unit that could be more than one syllable in the other Vietic languages is only one syllable in Vietnamese. Of course, Vietnamese has compound words, and maybe compound words like that exist in other Vietic or Austroasiatic languages. But in the sense that I've been saying, you have 2-syllable words in Tavung and stuff. In that sense, Vietnamese is just one syllable per word. Yeah.
I was recently talking about in this video here. I was recently talking about how Northern Vietic has an A, and in Southern Vedic it changes to a I. Did you already know that?
Okay. What do you mean by A and I in this case?
Like, for example, in Vietnamese, Northern Vietnamese, Northern Vedic would be Rang, and in Southern Vedic it would be more like Rin with an I.
Okay. So, what's an example of a Southern Vietic language here?
Some types of moon, because there's this word that means snake. It's THING. THING.
All right. Okay. Ting.
No, it's a TNH, I believe. Maybe TNH, or
Yeah.
I don't remember actually. It might be one of those.
I'm just looking at a map of Vietic languages now. It looks like you've got Vietnamese is like from the north, and then next south you have Muong, and they're both in the northern part of Vietnam, and then sort of a bit lower there's Tho, and then lower down you have then in like northern central Vietnam and in Laos you have a bunch of languages like Khoi, Tavung, Malay, Chip. Those ones are in Laos, and then you have Arem and Muong at the southern end of the old Vietic language family in central Vietnam. I'll send you a link to this.
Oh yeah, one more thing. We think that A is the conservative vowel, while I is the innovative vowel.
Yeah, maybe so. Yeah, I haven't seen much evidence of Vietnamese having an I or an it sound where there was an sound in like other Austroasiatic languages.
Because Proto-Asiatic for snake, it has an A sound at the in snake. It doesn't have an I sound at all.
Right. I'm going to go look that up. Let's go find out what the old Proto-Austroasiatic word was for snake. So Proto-Austroasiatic, for anyone who's listening, is like the idea that there is an Austroasiatic language family which includes Khmer and Vietnamese and these other Vietic languages and some other languages as well, like the Mon language from Burma, the ASEAN languages from Malaysia, and a few others. And there's this idea that these languages are related, which is to say that at some point in history, there was just one language that some people were speaking, in the context of this. And over time it changed, and different people in different areas spoke different versions of the language where they changed in different directions until they became separate languages. They could no longer be understood by speakers of each other. And that's how we got the languages there are now. But there is this idea that there was once one version of the language that everyone speaking a version of any of these languages spoke. And that is called the proto-language of the language family. And that's what Proto-Austroasiatic is believed to be, this proto-language of all these different languages there are now. This is the idea of a proto-language is common to every language family that is believed to exist. So too with the languages of Chinese. So too with the most famous example is the Indo-European languages, of which English, German, French, Italian, Latin, Sanskrit, and Farsi are all members. And with Proto-Indo-European being the oldest form, like the last form before it split up into all these languages, including the Hittite language, which is like an ancient one that people found texts of. So getting that out of the way, I'm going to go look up this word, run, as in snake. Now I'm going to a dictionary at the address sealang.net and follow a link. Mon Khmer. I'll press the Mon Khmer link, see what it shows me. All right, then Mon Khmer Etymological Dictionary. This is at sealang.net/Mon Khmer/dictionary. And I can do a search. I'll do a search for anything with snake listed in the description of the meaning of the word. And it gives me a list of results. Gives me a lot of results, like over 213 entries, I think. No. 706 items found. And it groups them into different branches of the language. Vietic is one of the branches. And let's look in Vietic, see if we can find rang.
They load yet?
I found it, yes. It has run, serpent, snake, Vietnamese, Hanoi. Like Hanoi is where they observed that word being spoken for the study. And let's see. See if it has Proto-Vietic. Seems not to have the Proto-Vietic for the run form, but it does have cognates, such as, in your right, sing in the language Pong and in the language Tho. Yeah. And it also has sung in Amul and Tanhua. Just one thing that's weird. They reckon in. Oh no, I found it. They reckon that there was a word of the form psain. Psain in Proto-Vietic. That is PS, schwa, enya, and glottal stop. So yeah, that is possibly how it happened. They believe it was a schwa in the ancestor language for the Vietic branch, and then maybe the schwa evolved into an a sound in Vietnamese, like a short a, and an it sound in some of the other Vietic languages, some of the more southern Vietic languages. And I think this also explains how Vietnamese can have it end in an N, while these other Vietic languages have it end in an Enge. Because, it was an Enya before a palatal nasal, and so that may well have developed into an alveolar nasal, an N, in one language, and an Enge, a velar nasal, in other languages. So, yeah.
That upside down E, usually in English and many languages, is actually corresponds with an A, I believe.
In English, it can correspond with any vowel, because in English, there's a pattern of reducing the sound of vowels, the distinctiveness of vowels in unstressed syllables, such that most of them become schwas.
At least in Vietnamese, in a lot of cases, that upside down E means an A.
If you're looking at phonetic or phonemic transcriptions of modern Vietnamese words or pronunciations, usually the upside down E will correspond to the A with a hat on it or the O with a hook on it, depending on the vowel length.
Yeah, A and O.
Sorry?
Yes, A and O.
Yeah, A and O.
Like ma, which would be B-O, and in the IPA it would be B upside down E, and that's how you spell it.
Yeah. So, that's sort of a little look at how it works. And you can see they reckon that a PS became an R in Vietnamese, but became just an S in these other Vietic languages. And this is where they believe that Vietnamese used to have consonant clusters at the starts of words, and that they were all reduced to single consonants.
I don't really know how to pronounce the question mark, though.
So the question mark thing, the question mark without a dot, refers to a glottal stop. And I suppose it's easiest to detect a glottal stop when it's between two vowels. Like, for example, if I wanted to say, I'll just say AA, right? I can say AA, there's no glottal stop there. Or I can say AA, and there's a glottal stop there. I can also go like maybe RE. I can say IE, there's no glottal stop there. Or I can say AE. You see how the throat stops the air, and then when the vowel starts, it's a bit louder when it starts, when the air starts getting let through. That's what a glottal stop does. It's also possible to say one at the start of the word, like, if I say angel, you know how you're meant to write AN when the next word starts with the vowel, an angel, right?
Yeah.
But sometimes you hear people who aren't, like little kids, say angel instead. To be able to say that, they have to put a glottal stop on the second A. Otherwise, the A's would blend together and become like angel.
I see.
And then glottal stop at the end of the word is when you say it like instead of like very far instead of very far. You know, you can hear it sounds a bit wrong if it's meant to be the word far. And also English, sometimes in some dialects, English reduces a nasal followed by a stop consonant to a nasal and then a glottal stop. So in my accent, if I want to say you cannot do that, I might say you can't. Like, you can't do that. If I say can't, I can say can't with the release T, or I can say can't. And it's like, you hear the air stop the N. I can also say like don't. I could say it as don't. And it's like, it's different to don't. It's don't. What's an example where this makes a difference what word it is? Pant versus pan. So I might be panting because I've been running. That's pant. Or I could say pan. Like, oh, I need to pan or whatever. Whereas pan is like something you cook food in. That kind of thing.
What are typical English words with glottal stops?
Actually, in American English, the word can, as in I can do it, and can't, as in I cannot do it. Though they can and can't have the same vowel, is that right?
I don't really know.
Like, how would you say tôi có thể?
Tôi có thể.
Yeah, but in English.
Can I?
Okay. What about tôi có thể làm cái đó?
Can't I?
But not as a question.
I can't do it? I can't do it?
Tôi có thể.
Can I do it?
Like, bạn có thể làm cái này không? Tôi có thể.
Can I do that? Can I do that?
Okay. How would you translate bạn có thể không?
Bạn có thể không?
Yep. And then in English?
Bạn có thể không? I think it would be, can't I do this with you? Can't I do this with you?
Okay, right, yeah. Like, can you do it? I was thinking. And then to answer, you could say yes, or you could say I can.
Okay.
Yeah. But if you can't, you might say I can't. And so that's can't as in cannot. Like, maybe you can do it, maybe you can't do it. Now, when I say can and can't, the A has a different sound because of my accent. Right. If I understand right, in the standard American accent, standard North American, the A has the same sound in both words. So you could say like I can or I can, right?
Yeah.
But then, I mean, is that right? Am I on the right track here?
I don't really know.
Okay, right. Okay, so I'll just tell you what I was thinking. I was thinking, in an American accent, you'd have like I can, I can't. They're almost the same.
Yeah,
But
they're almost the same.
there is a difference, right?
Yeah.
There is a difference at the end of the word, right?
Yep.
What is the difference?
One has a, I think a T and a comma or something.
That's right. It has an apostrophe and then a T at the end in the spelling. And the way that sounds when you say it is like I can I can't. I can. I can't. Like you don't normally say I can't, right?
Yeah.
You can if you want to, but you normally don't, right?
Yeah.
You say more like I can't.
I can't.
Something's different at the end, right? It's
Yeah.
like the air has been stopped inside your head.
Okay.
That is a glottal stop.
I see.
Yeah.
That was more complicated than whatever.
That's an example of a glottal stop being the distinguishing feature between two words in English, and that glottal stop being at the end of a word.
Yeah, I get it now.
Now, this same feature is the precursor to some tonal distinctions in Vietnamese and in Vietnamese. So basically, you remember we were looking at the word for snake, and it's gong rang, right?
Yeah.
With the yosak tone.
Yep.
Whereas what they believe is there was a glottal stop on the end of the word in the reconstruction. PS, upside down, E, Enya, glottal stop, making it sun. Instead of sun, it's sun. And that they believe, well, I think what happened next is in Vietnamese, that ended up becoming ran with a glottal stop on the end of the N. But that glottal stop turned into yosa, so it became ran. And this is because what they believe happened is a glottal stop at the end of a word in Vietnamese tonogenesis, which is the process of making words tonal. They believe the glottal stop at the end of a word meant the tone would become yosa or yo nang. And in fact, in the northern Vietnamese accent, you can still hear people say, for the word nang, they say nang. It's a low tone with a glottal stop.
But then why did some Vietnamese words glottal stops disappear, but some of them remain? Like I don't know what word, but there's a couple words in Vietnamese that still has glottal stops at the end.
Well, I think if you listen to maybe a Hanoi accent, like a pretty standard northern accent, now, correct me if I'm wrong, I haven't heard many northern speakers, but I think they'll usually not say the glottal stop is the end of run. They'll just use the high tone to let you know that it's yosa. But if they say nang, they'll use the glottal stop every time. I think every time. And maybe the difference there is sak evolved one way, nang evolved another. They are different tones. One is a high-pitched tone, one is a low-pitched tone. So, yeah, I didn't know if that's what you're referring to.
We once talked about the Eastern Mon Khmer languages, which comprise of Vietnamese and Cambodian. Even though they are part of the same branch, they do not look anything alike.
Yes, yeah. They're quite different in phonetic style. And, yeah, I think this just says that, well, if they're closely related, then there must have been a bunch of change in sound after they split apart anyway. Maybe they split apart a long time ago, even if they split apart later than like some of the other distinctions in Austroasiatic. Maybe they split apart maybe all the languages in Austroasiatic split apart a long time ago from each other. And then sound changes happened in the time since then, taking them in different directions.
But the thing is, if they're part of the same branch, wouldn't they have to be similar unless if you separate the branches because they're both Eastern Mon Khmer?
I suppose a short answer to that would be they just have to be more similar than all the other branches. Perhaps it's possible that these two branches changed a lot, but the other branches didn't change much. but they're still more close. These two branches are still more closely related to each other than to the others. And it's possible to check that not by comparing the degree of, well, I guess with Vietnamese and Khmer, if they are like next to each other in the tree, but they've both changed a lot. Vietnamese might still be more similar to Khmer than to the other languages, because when Vietnamese went its own way and made a lot of changes, it might not have made those changes in common with any of the other languages in the family. And so anything that makes it different to Khmer would also make it different to the other languages in the family. And then to be sure, I guess you would try to trace back the vocabulary and try to find maybe if the style of the sound as the language has changed. Maybe there are still similarities in vocabulary that you can see once you figure out how to undo those sound changes. You see the old forms of those words present in Vietnamese and Khmer and other languages. You might see that the vocabulary of Vietnamese and Khmer are more similar to each other than to in the other languages in the family tree, which would then say that Vietnamese and Khmer are closely related, even if they sound quite different.
You probably not have heard of this word before. Ngap in Vietnamese and Sangap in Khmer. They're very similar, right?
They mean yawn?
Yeah. Sangap and Ngap. One is missing a S and the other has a S.
Right. That sounds to me like the S has left its mark on the word ngap in Vietnamese by making it yongsa instead of yongnao. Because a word starting with a voiced consonant will normally have a low tone in Vietnamese. But if there was a consonant cluster, it's the first letter of the consonant cluster that determined whether the tone for that word would be low or high.
Do you think because some words in Vietnamese and Khmer are so similar that's the reason they're part of the same branch of Eastern Mon Khmer?
Yeah, I think they must have similarities in their words. That maybe they have more words in common, or the words in some sense have not changed as much relative to each other as compared to the other languages in the family tree. If they're closely related, if linguists have told us that, then yeah, there must be more similarity in the word stock.
Here's a cool example you don't know, Alex. It's the word for five. In Khmer and Vietnamese, it's a word that is either nam or bram, while in Hmong and some other Mon Khmer languages, it's a word that's spelled S-A-N, which is like san or something. It's a word for five in like the Southern Mon Khmer languages and maybe some Northern Mon Khmer languages.
All right. Yes, I didn't know that. That's interesting. I am looking that up in the sealang.net Mon Khmer dictionary right now.
Well,
it sounds like they might be unrelated words.
Well, when you study etymology, you know these things. So I think I know more etymology than you, though.
You have actually looked through a lot of these words in compiling the vocabulary for that conlang you've made.
Yeah.
Have you shared with listeners what the conlang is about?
Not really. I told them that I didn't tell them yet, but what I'm going to tell them right now is that ancient Vietnamese and ancient Khmer we don't know for sure what they look like, but we can construct a language that is very similar to it, with a lot of consonant clusters and features of what we actually know of ancient Proto-Austroasiatic and ancient Vietnamese and ancient Khmer. That's correct, right?
Yeah, I think that's what these reconstructions are. I'm just looking at reconstructions for 5, and it seems that there are 2 forms of the word 5 reconstructed for Proto-Mon Khmer in the Mon Khmer dictionary. Mon Khmer is another name for the language family that we call Austroasiatic. They're the same idea. Some linguists used one name, some used the other, and Austroasiatic I think is usually preferred, but Mon Khmer is also valid. There's some history to it, but I think I can sum it up with that.
Well, in some linguistics, Proto-Austroasiatic is different from Proto-Mon Khmer.
There was an idea that they're different. Maybe some linguists still follow that. I think the idea between calling them different was Mon Khmer was the idea. It was a language family that Mon and Khmer are both children of. Sort of like Indo-European, Indian languages and European languages in one family. And then there was this language over in India called Munda, and that's part of the little Munda language family. And that it was found to be by the same sort of technique by which they believe these other languages are related. It was found to be related to the languages of the Mon Khmer language family. And so linguists figured that it must be part of some language family that includes both of them. And some linguists thought, okay, Munda is further away and has a bunch of features that make it look and sound different to the other languages. They figured Munda must be less closely related than the other languages. And they constructed a new idea of a language family called Austroasiatic that would unite Mon Khmer and Munda into one family. But then some of the other linguists in the field looked into the nature of Munda a bit more closely, as well as the other languages. And as they learnt more about the likely old structure of the words in the Mon Khmer languages and in Munda, they came to the conclusion that there's no real reason to believe that Munda is less related to the Mon Khmer languages than those Mon Khmer languages are to each other. And so they put forward the idea that the whole idea of grouping the language family into Munda on one side and all the Mon Khmer languages on another, it's not really backed up by the evidence. I mean, there was reason to believe that Munda might have been influenced to become different because it's over in India and it's right next to the Indo-Aryan languages. It might have just been influenced by them in a way that the other Australasia, or in the way that the other Mon Khmer languages weren't. And it might just have been influenced a bit more strongly and not actually been less related genealogically. You go by which languages split when. And so there's this idea that unless we find out for sure that Munda is less related to the other languages than the ones that were traditionally called Mon Khmer, that it would make more sense to use one name to cover the whole family and not really worry about like grouping Munda separately. And that's where the name Austroasiatic became more popular because it referred to that broader language. And the name Mon Khmer was then considered by those people to be sort of ambiguous, whether it included Munda or not. So they thought it might be better just to step away from Mon Khmer and use the term Austroasiatic. But yeah, if you're taking Mon Khmer to refer to the language family that includes Mon and Khmer, if it turns out that Munda is just as closely related to Mon Khmer as they are to each other, like they're from the same parent language, like if you trace back Khmer and Mon to the point where they split, if Munda split off later than that, then Munda would be a Mon Khmer language. But if you use the term Austroasiatic, you don't even have to know the answer to that. You've got a term that works either way.
Yeah, early linguistics for Mon Khmer separates Munda and the Austroasiatic group because you can even see that in the current Mon Khmer dictionary because there's not a Munda included in the Mon Khmer dictionary, isn't there?
Wait, which one?
The one you're currently looking at.
Oh, good point. I'm looking at 5, a pretty common word in this language family. There's no Munda branch listed.
Yeah.
So they haven't brought in any dictionary evidence for Munda forms of the word. Interesting thing, yeah.
That's because Shorty's it's based on Shorty's dictionary, which completely leaves out Munda, and it was the early period of Mankamai linguistics.
I suppose. But when you say it's based on Shorto's, it does contain, it's got in its references other dictionaries written by other authors. But maybe there's still some influence from works from Shorto determining which words are included and which ones are not. I'm not sure.
Did you look up the word for 5 yet?
Yeah, so yeah, they've got 2 Proto-Mon Khmer reconstructions. Pnam for 5, which is turned into Bram in Khmer and Nam in Vietnamese, and Sun. It's actually listed 3 times: Son, Son, or Sun. So it's probably one of those 3 forms for the word 5 as well.
Did you search
And
up?
so if you look,
Yeah.
Sorry.
Did you search up the Hmong word for 5? I think it's in there.
Yeah, let's have a look at Mon. It's in the results. In Mon, they use. Apparently, they use Basan or Bason. Yeah, but in Middle Mon, they had Sun. In Thai, in the Mon language of Thailand, they have Ason. Yeah. In Old Mon, there was a form Masun. It seems to be related to this Sun. Sun, or Sun. Word form in Proto-Mon Khmer.
While Vietnamese and Khmer has the form of Nam or Bram, which is Proto-Austroasiatic for PD. Is it PD upside down ENG, I believe? Or PD upside down EM?
Oh, you're talking about Bram and Nam.
Yeah.
It reconstructs it as P, implosive D,
Yeah.
AM.
Okay. The second one was right.
Yeah. Well, I think I've got to go in about 5 minutes. Is there anything else you'd like to cover before I go?
Have you heard of the... Do you know the origin of Germanic numbers?
Of Germanic numbers?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I can say I know that because it's pretty uncontroversial, and I've read up on it. They are basically descendants of Proto-Indo-European numbers. As for the actual number forms, I don't know them off the top of my head, but I can look them up.
I think I remember the word 10 comes from Proto-Indo-European, I believe.
That's right. Yeah.
Well,
Man, I'm looking for a list that has them all in one. I want to look up the words one by one, but I might have to. So, 0 has its own history.
I think
Perhaps yeah.
Doesn't 0 come from Indian or something?
Yeah, I think 0, whether it started in Arabic, I don't know, but I think it got to the European languages from Arabic. And it was the form Sifra. I mean, I can look that up, but I thought I might look up the Germanic numbers first. So 1 is from Oinos. And 2 is from Twy. And oinos was oinos. Well, I think it might have been oinos in Proto-Indo-European. And 2, which was previously Twy, was dwoch. I think that's, I would sound it as dwoch. I'm using a k sound for that. That's for the H that they've got in the reconstruction. And then 3, 3 is reconstructed to be threes, coming from tres. And I could keep going, but I think I might just jump to 10. That's where I should get a list of these. If you'd like to hear the numbers counted out properly, oinos, twy, threes. But 10 in Proto-Germanic is reconstructed to be techun, derived from Proto-Indo-European decum. And decum is also the origin of Latin decim, from which we get decimal. Yeah.
Okay, before you go, how long have you been on stream for? An hour?
45 minutes now.
45 minutes? That seems a while.
Yeah. Hopefully I've shed a bit of light on some things that's interesting. Yeah, and call me back anytime. It'd be great to contribute again.
All right, then. See you.
All right. See ya.
All right. That was Alex, but he said some good things that I wouldn't know how to say because I'm not a linguist. He knows he knows how to he knows linguistics in a certain way different from me, and I know linguistics in a certain way different from him. I mostly focus on etymology and the origin of words. He focused on the phonetic. He knows about phonetics, I think, aspects of words and how to say them. Now let's continue with looking up words. Okay.
Kom, rasar, tekan, ketan, tengla, tutrut.
We have to go all the way back.
Rasar, tekan, ketan, tengla, tutrut. Koi, ne, and glor. Agah, go, gam tva, ngar, yang gam, bial, bi, galai, ringkam, sin, lek, bi, tum, chắc chu, choai, ple, tukom, rasar, tekan, ketan,
Rosar?
rasar, tekan, ketan, tengla, rasar, tekan, ketan, tengla, tutruk, ple, tukom, rasar, tekan,
Okay, it might be Resar or Rosar.
ple, tukom, rasar,
Resar.
tukom, rasar, tekan, tukom, rasar, tekan, chắc chu, choai, ple, tukom, rasar, tekan, ple, tukom, rasar,
Rosar.
tekan,
Resar.
Tan.
Is it Resar?
Từng lạ. Từ tru.
This
Quay.
is tough.
Tan. Từ can. Tan. Từng lạ. Từ tru. Quay. Nè. Choai. Ple. Từ com. Rosar.
Resar.
Can.
Resar. It might be Resar. But, well, I might end the stream here, so, because I want to get I want to get this word accurately, and I can't really hear it clearly from the stream, so, I'm gonna, we can speak, some other time, all right? Thank you for, being here.